Today we're going to talk real quick about my retro video game collection. I love retro games, and I've got so many of them. I got too many, to be honest, but I love them. I've got them everywhere. Eventually, I'm going to have a better shelf put up. Going to have them in a better spot than right there. But I've got a lot, and I think that it's I can't always get to the arcade, or the gameplay, so I try to keep bringing them with me. And I don't have the crazy fancy graphics like most people do in these videos. And you know why? I want to feel like we're just kind of hanging out. We're just hanging out. We're just talking about games. We're just talking about stuff. We're just talking about life. We're just talking about things. But today we're talking about video games. And I got my selection here. And this is just a little bit. This isn't all of them, but this is a couple of the ones that I love. Now this is Little Nemo, the Dream Master. Have you ever played this game? This game is awesome. It's awesome, but it's really hard. Most likely due to this right up here. I remember playing it when I was a kid. When I was a smaller kid, a shorter kid, as opposed to being a tall kid. But I remember playing it, and I was like, man, this is so hard. It's like, some of the animals will be your friend if you give them candy, and some of them, they don't care about that candy. Maybe they're on a diet or something. Yeah, you've got this magical candy. You give them some candy, and then they start blowing snot bubbles, and then you can jump inside of them or jump on top of them. It's kind of strange, but, it's a dream. You give candy to your cat, and if they start to blow snot bubbles, you can go inside of them. That's how life works. But in this game, once you get to level 2, or I couldn't even get past level 1, I don't think. You have to collect all the keys to open up the door to get to the next level. I couldn't even get to the next level. It was, that was hard. And I remember getting to the second level, and I'm like, man, this is tricky. This is a tricky game. And so I went back and started playing it again as a tall kid, and still tricky. It's like they were dabbling a little bit of that Mega Man spice on top of this. It's like, yeah, it might be. Then the art is deceiving. Well, you look at the art and it looks like everything wants to kill this kid. The tree, I don't trust that bed. And the flying crocodiles, you got flying crocodiles in a tree, you're in for a bad time. Obviously. But this is based on a movie, a very underrated animated movie. The movie's fantastic, and it's kind of like required reading in a way for the film. And then the film itself is based on a comic strip, which I didn't, as a kid, you're just like, who are these characters? What's going on? Who's Nemo? You find out a lot more because, the text bubbles barely give you any information. It's like it's a film tie-in, but like 5%. It doesn't really, it's a film tie-in, but it doesn't tell you, and you don't know it's a film tie-in. And then afterwards you find out, oh, there's actually a plot to this. There's a little bit of a cutscene at the beginning, but it still doesn't tell you a lot. But it's a good game, regardless. Then another one, this was the bane of my existence when I was a short kid. Karnov. This is a tricky game. Now this guy, he was a bad guy in Bad Dudes. And I guess that after getting beat up in Bad Dudes, he's like, you know what? Let me tell my story. And so you go back and you find out his life story, and his life story was pretty difficult. He had firemen chasing him. He had pterodactyls chasing him. But, the nice thing is if he collected boots, it made him jump higher. And then if he collected 3 ladders, he could create a magical ladder. I'm not sure if he became a good guy by the time that this game came out. It's the same company. But you're finding out where he came from. It's kind of like if one of the Koopa Troopers was like, after I got beat up, hey, I know I got beat up by Mario a lot, but sit back down. Let me tell you all how it got started. And it's an interesting game. You see, these guys are bad guys. by the time you get to the end of the first level is difficult. No, I have not got to the end. I have not got to more than the first level in either one of these games. No. But I love them. I collect them. I'm not a completionist. Not necessarily. I'm a collectionist. Collectioner. Whether or not that's a real word, that's fine. I can add it to your dictionary. But aside from that, this game is really neat. I always thought that what he's spitting... And there's this guy who's throwing lava rocks. You know what this is? This is almost a complete portrait of the first level, because most people won't get past the first level. This guy is throwing lava rocks, and I always thought that they were Chef Boyardee meatballs. They look just like them. And I was like, man, making me hungry every time I play this game. Don't fall down, games. The other game is Boy and His Blob. I love that this has got such a great narrative, such a great story that you have to imagine. When I was a short kid, I always saw David Crane's, A Boy and His Blob. Who is this David Crane, and why should we care? I always wondered that. Must have been something extremely relevant. And I was like, well, a name is on this game, so it must be a masterpiece. It's a pretty good game, because you have so many different kind of jelly beans. If you haven't played it before, you give the jelly beans to the blob, just as you would as if you had a pet blob. You could give them the jelly beans, and the jelly beans change the blob into different shapes, forms, items, or what have you. Except for the ketchup one. Nobody likes a ketchup jelly bean. I have yet to find out a reason for a ketchup jelly bean. But it's interesting because there's a plot. One day you're hanging out at home, and I guess there's things happening around your neighborhood. You give him I think it's a root beer jelly bean, which turns him into a rocket, and then you go off to another planet. So you go off to another planet, and you're like, oh no, I'm in another planet. So you kind of have to figure stuff out. What I've gathered is you have to collect treasure. So you can create a hole, make him turn into a hole by giving him the appropriate jelly bean. It's kind of got RPG elements. Way back before RPGs were a thing. But if you drop too far down, you're going to fall down and die. And it's funny because the blob will just sit there and look at you and be like, yeah, but where's my jelly beans? The right jelly bean will transform him. So my favorite thing is, the game was always trial and error. And that was the interesting thing. It's like you had the umbrella. You think, well, umbrella, in cartoons, umbrellas protect you from falling debris. And you know what? Some video games, umbrellas do protect you from falling debris. But in this game, umbrellas do not protect you from falling debris. So if you use the umbrella for falling debris, guess what? You will be deaded. There's no health bar. He's just a boy. Boys will die from lava. Boys will die from giant falls. Blobs will not. So whatever would kill a boy will kill your boy. That's how this game operates. No health bar, just life or death. But it's a really good game. I love it. I want to try the one out for Wii because it looks beautiful. It's kind of like taking the same concepts but then made it into a cel-shaded animated film. All right. Then we have Ren and Stimpy, Stimpy's invention. So once upon a time, Stimpy made a great invention to turn recycled food into edible food, to recycle food. I sat there and I thought about that when I was a short kid. I spent a lot of time thinking about that. Recycled food. His invention allows you to eat Recycled food. What is recycled food? Poop. That's disgusting. It really kind of glazes right over that. Recycled food. Not food that's like the remnants or the waste that you throw away. No, recycled food allows you to eat recycled food. And you know what's weird? There's some companies that are doing that for real. Ew. Put that aside for right now. But, it's a good game. Aside from that, and they try to make it all cutesy and everything. Ew. Ew. Why? What's the deal? What's the deal with poop? And you know what? Speaking of poop, let's gather around here for a second. Speaking of poop. Poop is gross. There's some people who like it, and there's a niche for that. But for a long time they wanted to make poop viral, and they wanted to make poop viral, and they wanted to make poop trendy. So there's poop toys, poop shirts, poop emojis, poop. But then what started that was the poop trend of trying to trick your friends into watching a poop thing. And you know what was really a big deal about all that poop stuff? The viral trend of tricking your friends. That was the viral trend. Well, everybody's beloved Blippi, he tried that at one point. He made a video where he's pooping into somebody's butt before he was known as Blippi. Go ahead. Tell the world. He says he apologizes, but it's still gross. And now he's making kids' videos. And we continue. Chippendale Rescue Rangers. All right, I'm going to show you something. Chippendale, Super Mario. Chippendale, Super Mario. Both of these games are two-player. I think this game has been around for eons, the series. This game did what this game, this company, this game, this brand, it took them decades to figure out. This game did it first and did it well. What I'm talking about is two-player co-op. So, for the longest time, you'd have a friend come over to play Mario. Two-player. I'll play as Mario, you play as Luigi. One player goes through, and this game has a different form of two-player. You see Luigi up on the map, you see Mario up on the map. But it's set up like it's a board game. One player plays, the other player takes a turn. That sucked. Back in whenever you would play that, it sucked. You would, there's some things you could do when your friend messed up, but it sucked. It sucked. Come along, Capcom, with Chippendale Rescue Rangers. It was so much fun when they finally did this. Two-player co-op. You can pick things up. This is the way that Super Mario Brothers 2 should have been, 3 should have been, Super Mario World should have been. Why did it take up to New Super Mario Brothers... New Super Mario Brothers on the Wii U. So how many more systems did it take for them to finally... I guess people like two-player co-op. Mario and Nintendo is brilliant with a lot of things, but they're also slow with figuring out something so simple. Two-player co-op. I remember playing this and I'm like, why didn't Mario do this? This game was great. And what's great too is you could pick up your friends, throw your friends into the enemies, you could pick up the apples. This game was the Mario game that Mario was not. I'm sorry, Mario. But this game, and also it featured a lot of locations from the cartoon, and at the time the cartoon was great. This was the best Disney afternoon game. And this was the best Mario game. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. One year I had a birthday party. I invited a friend over. He got me this game. Very thoughtful. We are no longer friends. Let's see, what else do we have here? 007, GoldenEye. This game was fun. I actually only liked the story mode. I never played the multiplayer too much. But this game revolutionary. Great game. But you know what I liked better for multiplayer? I'm gonna get flamed. South Park. This game was a good game. It was a good game with one exception. If they would have added a little bit more variety to the enemies. So you sit there, you find yourself playing the game. You get past the first level, you're like, okay, at least we're going to see some different kind of enemies. No, they're turkeys. Turkeys for the first level, turkeys for the second level. There's turkeys. If you like South Park and you don't like turkeys, this is a great game. But for multiplayer, it's great because you can play as all your favorite characters. It's fun. I didn't know half the characters in this, and I still don't. James Bond. It's a film series that keeps going, but they change. It's mostly a brand now. It's less of a film series. But this was fantastic. Okay. Well, those were my games for right now. I hope you enjoyed them. And I'll have so much more. It's lovely chatting with you, folks. It really is. It's like we're hanging out. And later on, I'm going to change all this stuff. Maybe we'll talk about movies. Maybe we'll talk about comic books. Maybe we'll talk about other things. But aside from that, thank you for watching.